Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It amazes me that to this day, people still have the audacity to gaslight the situation in Israel. They spew hatred and propaganda. They deny the genocidal acts done by Hamas to Israel on October 7th, against Israel, against the Jewish nation. And their only defense counter is that there's no proof, or they ask for evidence, like parrots over and over, saying the same thing, even though there's plenty of evidence. They know what the truth is. They don't care because they're pushing their narrative, they're pushing their agenda, and they ignore the truth. And they know exactly what they're doing, because what they're doing is exactly what was done throughout history many, many times. And that is, when you tell a lie enough times, over and over and over again, it becomes the truth. And it's a very interesting and scary thing at the same time. It becomes the truth. And that's exactly what they're doing now, the pro-Hamas people. And the people that don't know anything, they're not educated on the matter, they listen to this propaganda over and over and over again until they start to believe it, until they forget the horrible tragedy on October 7th, and the propaganda of Hamas starts to become their truth. So to challenge the pro-Hamas people, I have a few questions I would like to ask. Question number one. Now, this is regarding the people that were tearing down the signs. When they were tearing down the signs multiple times, almost all of them, when they were caught on camera doing it, they said that the reason they're doing it is because it's a lie and it's propaganda on Israel's side. So they're saying that there was nobody really kidnapped. There are no hostages, right? If that is the case, then why did we see on video Hamas militants exchanging with Israelis? The Hamas militants were giving back the Israeli hostages that they were holding, and Israel was giving them back prisoners that they were holding. Why is that? There was over 100 hostages released. There's still over 100 in captivity, and they exchanged it for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Now, I make note of this specifically when I say the Hamas kept hostages and Israel kept prisoners. And that's because when Hamas did what they did, they took innocent people to their captivity. Okay? Israel had prisoners because the people that they kept broke the law. They committed acts of terror, either trying to kill people or actually killing people. That's why they were in the Israeli prisons. So that is very important to just put that out there. And this is the exchange that was done. Question number two. If you are so concerned with Palestinian lives, why are you holding Israel accountable and not Hamas? Now, Hamas did what they did on October 7th, knowing the response Israel would give them, okay? Israel had no choice but to go to war. Their nation was attacked, 1,400 plus people dead, hundreds are hostages. They had to go and make sure that Hamas is taken out once and for all. So naturally, they're going to go into Gaza. Now, what they knew that there could be Palestinian casualties. So what they did is they purposely sent leaflets to warn the citizens to get out of there, especially in hospitals. But why hospitals? Because Hamas holds their military bases in the hospitals, in the important buildings, in the schools. They do that on purpose. They do that because they pretty much just use their people as human shields. All right? And this guy that was on Piers Morgan, he's an Egyptian comedian, Bassem Youssef. I don't know, Bassem Youssef. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Bassem Youssef. He was saying how effing cute that Israel is leaving leaflets. Well, what are they supposed to do? You know, if they didn't, then you wouldn't like it either. oh, look what they're doing. At least warn them, right? But they're leaving the leaflets. That's also not good. That's the whole point of this gaslighting business. That Israel can't do any right. Even if they don't retaliate at all, people will still mock them and say, look at these cowards, they're not doing anything. So they leave the leaflets, and the citizens can't get away because Hamas won't let them get away. All right, there's Hamas snipers shooting at the civilians trying to escape. Why? Because they don't want them to evacuate the hospitals. They want it to be very difficult for Israel to get in there. They know that Israel actually cares about lives, and they want it very difficult for Israel to invade. And they want to use Palestinian lives as props to show the world how bad Israel is. Look how many Palestinian casualties there are. So, again, the question is very simple. If you really, truly care about Palestinian lives, forget about everything else. Just that specifically, their lives. Why do you hold Israel accountable over Hamas? Question number 3. If Palestinian lives matter to the world, okay, then why aren't the neighboring countries? Okay, fine. Let's say Israel's bad. Just as an example, let's just say, for the sake of the argument, they're bad, and the Palestinians must be saved. Why are the neighboring countries not taking in refugees during this crucial time? If Palestinian lives matter so much, no neighboring country takes them in. Egypt shut their border. But I'll tell you this. Israel actually, again, and I've said this over and over, but they treat wounded Palestinians in their hospitals. Before the war, they would let Palestinians from Gaza come into Israel and work and go home. So you can say that Israel has arguably done more for these people than their neighboring countries. Number 4, a few weeks ago, the Arab Islamic Summit took place, and they had a meeting regarding the Palestinian situation. They came together to try to figure out the solution for the crisis. And what did they come up with? Absolutely nothing. What could they didn't come up with anything. What did they do to actually help the Palestinians during this time? I mean, I'm sure the way they see it, they came up with solutions or whatever, but the world is not seeing anything unless I missed something. Number 5, the world demanded a ceasefire when it doesn't even make sense, right? Because Hamas needs to be taken out once and for all, but the world's demanding a ceasefire. There's riots going on all over the world demanding a ceasefire. And it finally happened to some degree, right? There was a 4-day pause or whatever it was in exchange for hostages. But again, guess who violated that ceasefire starting, by shooting rockets into Israel? Hamas. Question number 6. Why is the Gaza Strip an open-air prison? Why? The people of Gaza, through their government, which is Hamas, have gotten billions and billions and billions of dollars in aid. They could have turned that strip into the next Singapore. But instead of using that money on their infrastructure and their economy, they used it for rockets and tunnels and anything but peace. And question number 7. If Palestinian lives matter so much and the world demands that Israel stop killing innocent Palestinian people, all they have to do is demand that Hamas surrender and give back the hostages. And just like that, the war's over and people stop dying. So why isn't that being done? Why isn't that being demanded from Hamas? I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that people are looking to the wrong side in order for the solution. They're just pointing the finger at Israel and saying that Israel's the enemy and they're doing everything that's wrong, when in reality, they just have to look at Hamas. If they figure that out and they put pressure on Hamas, the war can be over really quick and people, there would be a lot more people surviving. And that's what everybody wants. Despite what anybody thinks, that's what people want. They just want the war to be over and they want people to stop dying. And then I have another question. This is like a bonus question for all the social justice warriors out there. Because all of them come out when this situation in Israel is going on, right? Oh, look how bad Israel is. Look what they're doing to the Palestinian people. But how come these same social justice warriors never say anything about the Uyghur community in China? How come everybody's so silent about that? Do you not know what's going on in China with the Uyghur Muslim community? Because it's been in the news. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's fighting for anything. Nobody's rioting. Nobody's protesting. Nobody's demanding anything. Instead, what happens? The Chinese president comes to California. They clear the streets. They have Chinese flags everywhere. There's no protesters out there saying, hey, what about the Uyghur community? Why are you doing this to them? The genocide must stop. The persecution must stop. How about in Congo? Isn't there a 6.9 million people displacement in Congo? Why is the world silent about that? Now, in reality, these questions that I asked, they're useless to ask because the pro-Hamas people, they're not interested in the truth. Again, all they're interested in is pushing their narrative, their agenda. They're ignoring the facts. They're ignoring the truth, even though they know what it is. They don't care. And for example, right, there's like a video on Facebook that they had, and that video shows of a Palestinian person dead, but then they were caught not to be dead. They were caught that they were alive. Okay, so it's a hoax, right? A lot of this is propaganda. And when you read the comments, again, they're not interested in the truth. All they're saying is Israel's bad, like a lot of those comments. There's a lot of Jew-hating comments like, bring back the Austrian painter, right? They like to troll with that. And then, of course, the very famous Free Palestine, right? That's all they write. And what they do is they report the video enough times that it gets banned. And then that's what happens. The video gets taken down because they're not interested in the truth. They don't want the world to see the evidence. The world sees it all. I think good, calculated, rational people, logical people, good people, they see what's going on and they know what's going on, okay? They see how Hamas supporters behave on social media, how they riot. They call it protesting, but they see how they riot versus the Israeli side, which is they march and they protest peacefully. It's more of a rally, okay? They see the difference. They see the difference in their behaviors. The Israeli side holds the American flag. The pro-Hamas side takes down the American flag everywhere they riot, everywhere they protest. There's videos that show, Palestinians, people put makeup on them to make it seem like they're wounded in the war. Okay, there's videos that show a Palestinian mother holding a baby and acting as if the baby's dead and she's miserable and crying, and the camera caught and showed that the baby's fake. It's a doll. There's another video that showed an Israeli prisoner, a Palestinian prisoner who came out, part of the hostage exchange, came out healthy, hands working, arms working fine. And then he makes a video with broken hands saying, oh, that he was tortured in the Israeli prisons. And there's many, many, many more videos like that. So they see the inconsistency in their lies, Also, the pro-Hamas side says that there were no hostages, that it's a lie. But then they also say that Hamas treats their hostages well. So which one is it? Can't be both. It's either that they treat their hostages well or there are no hostages. Very inconsistent with their lies. I've seen a video of a non-Jewish person talking about the situation, and they said that, they don't really know the history of the land that well, and they don't know the history of the conflict, so they don't know which side to believe, but they do see the behavior on both sides. They see the behavior on the pro-Israel side, and they see the behavior on the pro-Hamas side. And it's very easy to see the difference on who behaves more righteous and who doesn't. And listen, being pro-Hamas is already a problem within itself in the first place. I know many people, they're probably pro-Hamas because they're being lied to. They're being lied to about what's going on, especially people from the far left, right? They chose a side. But I ask, at the very least, give the other side, the Israeli side, just a chance to present their case. Be open-minded to listen to both sides. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. To all the pro-Hamas people that are justifying this terror and they're ignoring the facts and the truth because they are not interested in it, they're interested in their narrative and their agenda, just remember that God sees all and God will eventually judge all.